Maria Exposto thought she'd found true love online. Instead, she was ensnared in an elaborate international crime network. The Sydney grandmother, known to her family as Bella, was sentenced to death last year for drug trafficking.
This is out of character. It's not Bella. Bella's a devoted mum, a devoted wife. But drugs? No, not my Bella.
She was a textbook romance scam victim. She was not someone that would get herself involved knowingly in any way in drug trafficking.
Maria Exposto fell in love with a man who didn't exist. She believed she was talking to Captain Daniel Smith, an American Special Forces soldier stationed in Afghanistan. In fact, she was seduced by criminals using stolen photos of a retired British naval officer.
In reality, Maria was talking to probably more than one criminal, probably a gang of criminals, most likely, from what I've looked at in this case, West Africans, and in my view, probably Ghanaian West Africans as well.
This could be her. Hello? Yeah, it's her.
Hello.
Hey, Mum. Mum, I got ABC News here with me.
Maria spoke to us from prison in Malaysia about how she was duped.
The time I was blind, you understand what I mean? I was blind in love with Daniel. Every day he sang to me 5 times a day. He sang love songs to me 5 times a day. And then he made me fall in love with him because of this bullshitting things, and then make me fall in love with him.
I want our love to flourish with unrequited fire and passion while we're apart. I yearn to look into your eyes the way that lovers do and hear you whisper, I love you.
The scammers bombarded her with declarations of love followed by pleas for money.
I've searched my heart and found out that you're not happy in your married life. Therefore, I want to ask your hand in marriage. Thank you, my love, for your answer. I'm so happy, my love. I will love and cherish you like no other man. When are you going out, honey? What about the Western Union? When are you going to send the money?
She'll just give me a phone. Just go, can you send this money to my friend through Western Union? And I'll just be like, yeah, okay, sure. But then I started reading them after a while, and then they were going to, one place was Ghana. And I'm just like, Ghana? What friend does she have there?
Maria sent more than $18,000 to Ghana. Within a year, she was broke, but the scammers weren't finished with her.
What happens with victims who have been scammed is they get put on a suckers list. And being on a suckers list means that that's sold on the dark web and other criminals will use it. In Maria's case, I think that's probably what's happened, is that perhaps other people have either got involved that have joined these gangs, or her details have been sold off to the next highest bidder to be able to be used as a drug mule.
Maria was lured to Shanghai to sign Daniel Smith's retirement papers. She was met by a man who said he was an army colleague. He gave her a bag to take back to Australia. In transit in Malaysia, customs officers found more than 1 kilo of the drug ice sewn into the lining.
I entered this case purely professionally to examine this as an expert witness. And I didn't make up my mind until I went through all the data available and until I interviewed Maria. She didn't have to have her bags checked. She volunteered. She said, here, I have my bags, have a look. I've looked at this case for so long now and in so much detail. It's one of those things that you think, oh, sorry. I didn't expect to get emotional about it. You just think, if you could take that moment back again for her, you know.
Professor Monica Whitty is a global authority on the psychology of romance scams.
The criminals involved in this are definitely masters of manipulation. This is their job, right? And they're very good at it, and they're very proud of being good at it as well.
Well, I think they're looking for people that are vulnerable. They're looking for people that are probably to some extent lonely, that are looking for engagement, and that is why they utilise social media. They're organised, they're very well organised, and they're very well resourced.
The rampant theft of images is central to the business of scamming. Retired US Colonel Brian Denny has had his image stolen and used in thousands of fake social media and dating profiles.
Military personnel are highly regarded. We're seen as trustworthy, dependable. So over the course of the last 2 years, I've reported over 3,000 accounts to Facebook of scammers using my pictures to steal money from women around the globe.
Brian Denny is among countless military personnel whose photos have been used by scammers.
This is being done at kind of at an industrial scale, and how do you stop it? What do you do about it? These are thieves that are using images to take advantage of people on a global scale.
Brian Denny has trawled through groups on Facebook where scammers trade skills and fake identities.
They offer Facebook profiles for sale. They offer pictures of uniformed servicemen for sale. They offer the backstory and kind of how you get started. So it's all right there. It's in plain sight. It's not hidden.
The fraudsters advertise so-called formats, day-by-day scripts to run their scams. They sell photo editing skills. In secret groups on Facebook's instant messaging service WhatsApp, they trade bank accounts for laundering stolen money.
I'm angry, to say the least. It's hugely frustrating knowing that you're talking to a company like Facebook, and you're working to help people, them enforce their own community standards, and yet on Facebook they're advertising. There are people that are advertising, hey, this is how you take advantage of people.
Each week, Brian Denny hears from women across the world who've been sucked in by the scammers.
They are trying to confirm or deny that I'm a guy that they've had a relationship with and have sent money to. They've committed everything, all their financial resources, and now to find out that it's not true, it was all fake, and they've been duped emotionally, and they're out large sums of money. I mean, it's traumatic. It's traumatic.
I was totally in love with him, totally besotted. I'd never loved anyone like I loved him. I really, and of course it was Brian's looks, and I was just, I thought I thought all my dreams had come true. I only found out about 3 weeks ago who he is, a 29-year-old Nigerian.
Queenslander Sherelle Music was seduced by a scammer using Brian Denny's images. Over 2 years, she sent him $40,000.
It was all borrowed. I borrowed it out of my bank card. I made a personal loan, and then when that ran out, I started getting them off cash converters.
Hey, how are you? I feel like we need introductions almost to a point, but I'm Brian.
I'm Sherelle.
Hey, Sherelle, how are you?
Good. I've been in love with you for 2 years.
That takes your breath away. Well,
This is the first time Brian Denny has come face to face with a victim.
quite frankly, I wanted to meet and say I'm sorry that this happened to you and you were taken advantage of.
But I don't blame you in any, I honestly don't blame you in any sense of the word. And I don't even really hate the scammer or anything, you know what I mean? But he gave you, I tell you something now, he gave you some service. He has been, no, I'm not kidding you, he has been the most beautiful person that God ever put breath into it.
Except maybe for the part where for 2 years he pretended to be me. You know, that you could say he was kind of putting you wrong there. But, you know, this is big business.
Yeah.
They look for people that are big-hearted and generous, and you fit the bill.
Yep. So, yeah.
Just be cautious going forward, all right?
Both Sherelle and Brian are devoted to exposing the criminals' tactics.
These guys are thieves. These guys are cockroaches, and when you shine a light on them, cockroaches scatter.
I just want to have other women who are getting men, and there are thousands of them, getting men talking to them, romancing them, and then asking them for money. Please don't give it to them, because they don't love you, they don't care about you, they are only after the money.
Four Corners travelled to Ghana in West Africa to find out who's behind the booming business of online fraud. This former slave colony is one of Africa's fastest growing economies. There are more phones here than people, and internet is cheap, so online crime is easy money, and authorities are battling to keep up.
Those who indulge in this are the perpetrators. Most of them are unemployed, but they are very sharp. They are very intelligent, because it takes someone with an intellect to sit down and even fancy how to get into this activity, and also to blindfold or hoodwink someone to believe in whatever story he's putting across.
Many of the scammers start out in internet cafes like this one. They're known as cafe boys. What are you guys up to in here on the computers?
Sometimes we come to check our Facebooks.
Yeah.
And a lot of things, social media. Yeah.
I noticed though that on your computers you all have female names.
Yeah.
There's Jessica, Mary. Why do you log in with female names? What's that? You guys scared him off.
So we just come here, just get some money from the whites, get some food to eat.
They're on dating sites to chat up men, and they're remarkably candid about what they do.
I mean, some of them can give you $2,000 US. Maybe you tell them you want $5,000 US or 5,000 pounds or 5,000 Australian dollars.
Do you chat with men in Australia?
Oh yeah, I can even show you the chat.
Sure.
Yo.
Please. Yeah, show me. Thank you. And I can see here he says, "Wanna play now?
Yeah,
I'm horny."
You mean like you want to play video cam with me?
Video cam?
Yeah, video cam with me.
To do what?
To do fun.
Like sexy stuff?
Sex stuff and all that things. And I'll make sure to make him happy. Happy like you feel in love with me.
He thinks you're a woman?
Yeah.
And so what do you do with him? Does he show you himself?
Yeah, he show me himself. Even I see him
naked?
Naked. Full naked.
He doesn't see anything on the video?
Anything.
Hey, someday, yo.
On the streets of the capital, Accra, this 27-year-old who calls himself Kwaku hustles for his living.
That's nice. The 100 that they do. How much you want to pay?
On a good night, he makes the equivalent of $20 selling perfume.
Last price 60. Let me give you 70. 70. Almost 70.
It's a fraction of what he can make online.
Basically, they call us fraud boys or game boys because we do fraud to get money. We scam.
From his tiny flat, Kwaku and his friend, who goes by the nickname Skidoo, use stolen photos to create fake identities to fool their victims.
I am Johnny, and I am a military man in the U.S. Okay, so sometimes I'm in Palestine, sometimes I'm in Iraq, and we are helping keeping peace in that country because there's war going on and all that. So that's my main occupation online. Yeah, so I search for clients. I want somebody to be my lover, yeah, my fiancé and all that.
You said you search for clients. What's that?
The word client is used for people we meet online.
You don't like to use the word victim?
No. The
victim doesn't sound pretty.
A client is somebody, a business partner who maybe will bring money or something. That's why I use the word client. Some are divorced and some are, their husbands are dead and all that.
So the best targets are people who are divorced
or divorced or widowed, yes.
Their husbands are
dead. They are dead or divorced, yes.
Kwaku's current target is a Mexican woman in the US.
I think she doesn't have that education where she's not fluent in the English like that. So I was lucky enough to meet somebody who wasn't. But I proposed to her and we were getting along. But it seems I wanted some capital, so I asked her for money. And I think she sent me money about $2,000. Yeah.
Kwaku returns a call from the woman while we're filming and pretends his webcam isn't working.
I really want to come around this Christmas so I can come and see you.
What about the flight ticket that your friend bought for you?
Yeah, my friend booked the flight ticket. I'm not hearing from my friend anymore. It's really hard times here, baby. I'm trying to video chat with you so you can see me, but the camera is not working properly. I don't know.
Say, right here, the camera is off, baby.
Can you see me now? Oh my God, I love you, baby. I'm gonna call you back. I gotta call you back, okay, baby? Yeah. Oh my God, that's my tits. I'm gonna call you back later tonight so we can have fun, okay?
Okay, baby.
All right, love you. Bye. She's falling in love with the voice because the same voice that I propose to her, the same voice that I tell her she's beautiful, the same voice that when I'm making love to her, you know, sometimes I back it off with when you're having sex, those voices. Yeah, you know, she likes that.
You know, women like men who are caring. You understand? If you're not giving them money, oh, you always call them, how you doing? Oh, I wanted to check on you. Have you eaten all those stuffs? Like pampering that way. You understand? She's there. She's online looking for a partner. Maybe it's been long since she met someone like that. It's been long since someone pampered her. It's been long since someone told her sweet things. You understand?
Sometimes you be talking to the person and you can even feel pity for the person. Wow, this person, she's crying and all that. You feel pity, but you need money.
Are you committing crime?
No.
I don't see it to be a crime because it's online. I'm trying to get money. And the same person is also trying to get money.
For them, it's purely business and taking what's owed to them.
The white people, they came down here to colonize us, took what belongs to us. They sent our great-great-grandfathers there, treated them like slaves, you understand? They did a lot of harm to them, you understand? So they've done us bad before, and we think it's time to pay them back.
Superstition runs deep in Ghana. At a shrine on the outskirts of the capital, Nana Agrada casts spells for her customers to help them make money.
I am a fetish priestess. I am a fetish priestess.
She's also a businesswoman. Cafe boys pay Nana to deliver them the power to manipulate their victims. Nana and her assistant show us how it works.
Nana,
your client if we go where we no chat in a bear na hini. Maybe so maybe our moon one my basin can do more blow.
What do you picture by?
But I
Fabra.
I'm me and son.
What's your consultation, Fatou?
What are you saying?
100 cedis. A friend say?
What's your friend?
You're about to come up at a park on Temple and Temple to Hebron and Nabra. You're about to come up at a park on Temple and Temple to Hebron and I have to Juma. So he came to me that he brought some white people to me, 2 ladies and 1 man. The boy wants them to send him some amount because he has been asking money from her and he, but they have not paid the money. So when he came, I was doing it for him. So I give him some soap to go and use it so that when he is using it to bath, he will say anything that he wants the white lady or the white man to do for him. So that is what I was doing for him.
Ghana's Economic and Organised Crime Office is working with the FBI and Interpol to confront the cyber fraud industry. Head of Prosecutions Abu Issa says the cafe boys are only entry-level criminals.
These are just unemployed youth who will try to do all that they can to sustain a living. But the big guys will never go to the internet cafe. They will sit in the comfort of their rooms, have their mobile telephonic broadband network, and do it in their own comfort. Even most of the bad guys or the big fishes put out or send the small boys on an errand to undertake preliminary activities for them. So they graduate from that particular little boys to the big guys in town.
We've spent the last 2 days.
Abu Issa says formidable international crime organisations have taken hold in Ghana.
We have Nigerian nationals and other West African nationals who come here, and definitely they have their Ghanaian collaborators or counterparts who indulge in this, and then they share ideas, making it so sophisticated even to track down.
What started in West Africa has grown into a global network. Scammers here are trading their victims with criminal syndicates, which are exploiting them for money laundering and drug trafficking. Police are only starting to understand how sophisticated and far-reaching this is.
He's still looking back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see him there, though?
Yeah, I know he's on our 6. He stopped. Yeah, I got him in the mirror. Oh, yeah, no, he's just looking for Siggy. He's not
In Toronto, Canada, detectives Michael Kelly and Tim Trotter have uncovered the inner workings of a global crime network which has grown out of the internet cafes of West Africa.
I guess we kind of got what we wanted.
It's alleged that they are involved in everything from fraud and money laundering to drug trafficking to human trafficking to prostitution rings, all manners of criminality.
At the centre of their investigation was this man, Akahoman Igadoizi. The Canadian-Nigerian dual national was arrested at Toronto Airport in 2014 when Customs found him with a fake credit card.
He was placed under arrest by Peel Regional Police here in Canada, and I wound up writing a search warrant for the electronic devices found in his possession.
Their contents after examination opened us up to the innermost workings of the organization.
They say Igadoizi's chat history revealed he was coordinating a vast fraud and money laundering network.
It was thousands upon thousands of lines with him and communicating with other conspirators all around the world about fraud scams of all types, targeting victims all over the world, talking about how to control their victims, how to best carry out the fraud scams. And it gave us a real sense of the scope and scale of how large it was and the nature and how big the operations were that Mr. Igadoizi and his associates were carrying out, again, targeting people from Canada to the United States to Europe, to even mentioning Australians.
There were emails that indicated their ability to have peer review of each other's criminality. And there were exchanges of suggestions of, no, use this letter, it's better. Use this hallmark on your documents, it's much more effective. And so you realize, okay, we're up against a machine here.
One of his colleagues here reaches out to him and says, "Brother, can you get me an HSBC bank account for Shanghai, China?"
Igadoizi was the treasurer of the Canada Zone of an organisation called the Neo-Black Movement of Africa, also known as Black Axe. It started out as a university fraternity in Nigeria in the 70s. It likes to be known for charitable works, but it's earned a reputation in Nigeria as a violent cult.
They'd put on this happy face of a social political brotherhood. But back home, the very same members of that organization would happily post on Facebook pictures of people being slaughtered in markets, hacked to death out front of their school. The Nigerian contemporary media was full of accounts of people, cult members or members of the Neo-Black movement, executing friend and foe alike.
Black Axe has spread to 26 countries, including Italy, where it's recognised by authorities as the Nigerian mafia for running drug, human and sex trafficking networks. Mike Kelly and Tim Trotter discovered the group has become a global giant in online fraud.
What we found was something very unique in criminal organizations. And we found an organization that had strong central control, that had feeders everywhere, and then would take in all this information and essentially assess and find the best practice, best criminal practice, with which to victimize people all over the world.
The detectives say Igadoizi channeled funds through a worldwide network.
He was directing individuals to send money to China, to Malaysia, to Japan, to South Korea, to throughout Europe, literally all across the globe. He was the plug-in for an entire network of people behind him that were out there committing crimes and targeting people all across the world, and were coming to him to get bank accounts to launder those funds. Quickly get me a bank account so I can receive money from this victim here or another country around the world. He really was a real keystone in the world of transnational fraud and money laundering. You are being charged with one more charge of laundering the proceeds of crime.
Igadoizi was jailed in Canada for fraud. He's also wanted by the FBI, which has indicted him on money laundering charges over an alleged $5 billion fraud scheme.
Well, we in law enforcement have been in dealing with the elements of West African organized crime for quite some time, but I don't think that we've really pieced it together on the truly transnational stage that it truly deserves. West African organized crime might be the largest transnational organized crime entity out there, but nobody's really heard of it.
Well, what the Toronto Police Service really did was demonstrate that there is this international network of lots of money with lots of frauds and interconnected parts. I think the initial reaction is to think of people sending these stupid emails of the Nigerian prince, and they don't realize from that you're really talking about very violent criminals that are very organized, enforcing this stuff on a global organized scale. They're not dumb, they're very smart, they're very organized, and there's huge numbers of them.
Former US Federal Trade Commission Director Steve Baker has watched West African crime organisations move into massive corporate scams. In what's called business email compromise, crime groups hack company email accounts.
Somebody, say the chief financial officer, will get an email that looks like it's from her boss saying, gee, instead of paying the supplier the normal way, this time we want you to wire that money to this other bank account. So she believes that she's responding to the person she works for, and she's really sending the money off to the crooks without realizing it.
West African cybercrime is the biggest threat that we see on the internet today. We're looking at over $12 billion in 5 years. It eclipses all of the other threats that we've seen that are financially motivated.
American cyber intelligence firm CrowdStrike investigates the email scams and finds the money trail quickly runs cold.
So this is the social media profile of one of the attackers that we've been tracking here. So you can see...
They found romance scam victims are often tricked into laundering the stolen funds.
They use the accounts of these romance victims. That becomes kind of the highway that the money takes to go from the victim to the criminal. Gone unchecked, this is not going to go away. I think some of the things we've been seeing from law enforcement over the last year are great. There's been a number of arrests in Ghana, in the US, in Canada, in the UK. There are arrests all over the world occurring, and we need to keep the pressure on.
The cyber syndicates have proliferated all over the world, including here in Australia. And there's one case that shows just how brazen the scammers have become. It involves a romance scam victim who was drawn into a global drug smuggling syndicate, and it was operating right under the noses of Australian authorities here at the Villawood Detention Centre in Sydney. In April 2014, the New South Wales Crime Commission and police launched this raid at the Villawood Detention Centre.
We're currently present at the Villawood Detention Centre, located on Muriera Road in Villawood. We're here for the purpose of executing 2 search warrants. They are Commonwealth search warrants 2014.
They were looking for evidence of a global drug smuggling plot using a scam victim as a mule.
You can see a slit in the mattress. If you lift that up, it slid down a little bit, but you still might be able to see it in there. It's a mobile phone. Numerous persons' names and phone numbers. This one's and email addresses. A lot being international numbers.
Yeah, a couple of phones of it.
Three Nokia mobile phones.
The time is now 7:26 p.m. on.
The target of the raid was Nigerian Patrick Nweki, a convicted drug importer who'd been in immigration detention more than a year fighting deportation.
To my right, I have Dirichukwu Patrick Nweki, who is here at Bankstown Police Station, currently under arrest in relation to the allegation that he was participating in coordinating and aiding the importation of a border-controlled substance, namely cocaine.
Nweki had been under investigation for 5 months as he conspired with Nigerian contacts around the world.
They seemed to be like a vertically integrated company. It was an organisation that sourced the drugs, found the couriers, facilitated their transport, collected the drugs at the end. It was a well-tried and, I think, well-practiced approach.
Nweki's mule was American disability pensioner Peter Strand, who'd lost $400,000 to romance scams.
You know, I was hoodwinked, I was coerced, convinced, or otherwise led to believe that something was going to happen that never happened.
So he was identified as the type of gullible person who was vulnerable to this type of manipulation.
Hello.
Police intercepted Nweki's communications on 10 mobile services he used secretly inside Villawood. He called contacts in South Africa, India, Brazil and Nigeria, setting up the drug smuggling operation. They targeted Peter Strand because he was broke, sick and frail. Nweki and his accomplice in Nigeria discussed the scam used to suck Strand in.
It was supposed to be money cleaning, cash cleaning agent of some type. Now, supposedly this cash that I was going to be getting was marked with some type of dye which needed to be cleaned off in order for me to get clean cash.
It was a bizarre and, to an outsider, unbelievable thing, but he wasn't the only one who fell for it.
On the 29th of April 2014, Peter Strand flew into Sydney International Airport carrying a bag he'd brought from Brazil.
I was in the transit area, and someone came to me in a uniform and said, "Is this your name?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Follow me." Why am I going through this?
Customs officers found 2 protein powder containers holding about 2.5 kilograms of cocaine in his bag.
Mr. Strand, like I said before, I must caution you that you do not say or do anything, as anything you do say or do may be used in evidence. Do you understand that? Okay.
And then when they opened it and tested it and told me what it was, I was in complete shock. Complete shock. I had no idea what to say. I was just, I can't believe this is happening.
You have been arrested today for the importation of a commercial quantity of an illegal drug into Australia and for possession of that drug, and because of the quantity, you intended to supply that drug. Do you understand?
Yes.
What can you tell me about the allegation?
I had no idea what was in the bag whatsoever.
Peter Strand was one of 44 drug mules arrested at Australian airports after being drawn in by online criminal syndicates. After 18 months in jail, Strand was found not guilty. His puppet master, Patrick Nweki, was convicted of drug importation and will be sentenced next month.
It was extremely well organized. That's mind-boggling absolutely mind-boggling. And let alone out of Australia, but out of a detention facility. How is that possible? How is that possible?
5 months ago, in a separate case, police arrested another Nigerian detainee at Villawood who was allegedly running a $3 million fraud syndicate from inside.
We just need to be aware and continually be on the lookout for new scams as they come across. There's no doubt these organised criminal groups, West Africans as well as everybody else, will change their modus operandi and again will start to target Australians in a big way.
In Ghana, online scamming is a way of life for many who are poor and unemployed.
The bottom line, you've got to survive. If you want me to put it that way, it might be somehow painful seeing someone who is old enough to be on what are going through that. But the bottom line still remains, we've got to survive.
Thank you, Accra. All right, thank you very much. Let's give it up for our main man.
Some see it as a legitimate way to build their future.
Make some noise.
Become a big musician worldwide and a businessman with companies and employ the youth, some who are not working, so I can create jobs for the youth, because that's the main thing that is holding us back with the youth. That's why we are indulging ourselves in this scamming and all that.
As long as scammers are hooking victims, they'll be feeding what the FBI calls some of the most aggressive and expansionist crime organisations in the world.
They will keep going until they rob you blind. They will keep going until they take everything from you.
As long as people send money to people they don't know, this kind of thing will continue to happen. This isn't something that you can wait out. It's not going to go away.
This is in our neighborhoods. This is our friends. This is our neighbors. These are people we know. This is on our block. This is in our apartment building. And the total amounts of money going out are staggering. Coming to terms with the fact that these really are huge, organized, worldwide enterprises is something that I think the police around the world are still learning about, and we've got a long way to go if we're ever going to do something effective.
Thank you, my people. Yes, it's always good to have fun. There is nothing wrong with having fun.